Welcome to the Car Guys and welcome to this 718 Boxster S.
This week we are going to try and understand why everyone hates it so much. Is it really as bad as everyone thinks?
Is this really the most hated Porsche ever made?
People think so.
Let's find out, shall we? So here we are, Jason, it's the Porsche Boxster S. I thought what we would do this week is take you through what we like about this car first. Yeah. And there are some things, I mean, it has to be said, it is a beautiful Porsche, by the way. There are things to like. And then we'll take you through what we don't like about this car. There are two main things that we don't like about this car, and we'll cover them later on. Now, this car has what we would like to call a checkered history.
Yes, indeed.
In that most people hate them. Porsche purists hate this car.
But do they hate them in the same way that they hated the 996 from going from air to water cooled?
I would say...
Is it that level of hate?
Oh, it's definitely that level.
Right.
To me, the question is it much more hate than that, rather than is it the same level?
And is it a justified hate? Because I don't think the water cooled thing was really justified.
Time has been kind to the 996.
Yeah.
But this, well, that's what we're here to find out, isn't it? Is the hate of this car justified? We've had this car now for 1,800 miles. So we've had a good chance to drive the hell out of it. We've been able to check out all of its weaknesses and strengths. So I think we're in a good position to be able to answer that question. Why does everyone hate the 718 Boxster so much? Is it justified? Do we agree? And should you buy one?
Good question.
Now, Porsche introduced a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. And that's where the controversy with this car comes from. Yeah,
Starts?
Well, because,
Doesn't end there though, does it?
People are used to having lovely, naturally aspirated, singing, beautiful Boxster engines in their Boxsters. That's one of the main characteristics of the Boxster, apart from the roof. Soft top, beautiful singing engine, snicky gearbox, bang, you're away, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's not me, not personally, I'm not away. I don't like them at all, but...
You don't like the Boxster?
No, never have done.
Oh, why is that?
Because it doesn't matter how nice it drives, you still know you're sitting in a Boxster, and people who look at you, you have got to be a man of a certain age. You've done 40 years in BT, you've taken your pension, right? You've got that lump sum, you need a sports car, so you go out. Now, of course, you can't do that nowadays, right? Because they're so expensive. I mean, this car's £68,000 and it's the middle of the road.
That, in anyone's language, is too much.
For the middle of the range car as well. This is even the GTS, which is another £10,000 on top.
Yeah, the GTS was nearly 80,000 quid. That's too much. It's too much. Although I wasn't sure about it to start with, I actually have got used to and actually do quite like the red contrasting roof. I think it goes well with the black of the car and it's a bit different.
So let's have a little walk around this Porsche Boxster. I quite like the oblong headlights.
I think the design works. It's a really nice svelte shape. There's lots of creases. Does look really, really good. I think it's very effective, particularly in this black.
Any media pictures or brochures of the Boxster, the gap between the wheels and the wheel arches is much smaller. They're nicely, snugly fit together, and it's just not like that in real life, and it spoils it.
I also really like the sort of anniversary Fuchs effect style wheels. I think they look really good on this car, as they do, for example, on the Targa that we tested.
So the classic Boxster shape includes the air intakes for the radiators at the back, but this is a Boxster S, so middle of the range. But can you hear that? That's plastic. Why is that plastic? I mean, and it's not even, it's unashamed plastic as well. I do really like the rear of this car. This particular bit here, I like this design feature. The rear lights look really, really good. I think it's a very smart, good-looking rear of the car. Really nice. Let's have a look in the boot, see how much space we got here. Oh, always very important to me. Open her up. I think that's all right, actually. I mean, you're not going to get a half set of clubs in there, I suppose.
It's always low. You don't even play golf.
I might play golf at some point. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not bad. It's not a bad boot space, considering the engine is literally here. I think that's pretty adequate. And what have we got tucked away in the front? Actually, do you know what? There's loads of boot space in this car. Look how big that is. That is enormous.
One thing I actually do like about this Boxster S is the action when you close this rear deck. It gives you a nice positive snick when you close it. It really feels like sort of classic old Porsches. You know, the early 60s stuff and also the 914. Listen to this. That's good.
Even more than that.
Say hello to the interior of the Porsche Boxster S.
I love Porsche interiors these days.
It's
They
such-
absolutely nail it, don't they?
The quality, I mean, you can't argue with that.
The design, the quality. It's just a really lovely place to get in and sit down.
I don't think there's any car that feels better built, more hewn out of granite, and just everything bashed together perfectly than one of these.
And actually, I don't mind so much the red.
I was going to ask you about that. So this car does feature a red leather interior, which is a little bit unusual, and some would say horrendously garish.
I wouldn't have spec'd it. I would not have ticked the let's have a red interior button.
But it is at least different.
But it is different.
And actually, I've got used to it. I don't mind it as much as I thought I would, because it sort of, you know, evokes old 50s racers.
Yeah.
Which I do quite like.
I like there's the split between, there's a little bit of carbon across here as well, which is a nice contrast between the black leather and the red leather.
And you can't argue with this roof. I mean, it is so solid and sound insulated. When you put it up here, you're driving along, it could easily be a hard top. This one's got the chrono pack on it.
Chrono pack. So what does that give us?
Well, you've got your driving mode selector here. You've got that special super turbo boosty, you know, crazy overtake button.
Yeah.
So interior,
thumbs up.
It's a
definite
success.
Thumbs up. Yes.
It is good, isn't it? One thing I will highlight, it's a bit of a design flaw really on the interior. If you are driving along with the car and you've got the PDK gearbox in drive, if you then want to change the volume on the media, on the radio, whatever, you actually have to reach around the PDK to get to the volume knob.
No one likes to reach around.
Yeah, so you actually have to reach around the gear stick in order to change the volume. And if you're wearing a watch, which obviously I always am, you're clashing it against the gear stick. It's really horrible.
Jarring.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an ergonomic faux pas, really.
Really, they should have put the volume on the other side then.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
There is one other thing about Porsche interiors when you're speccing the car, which is unusual in this day and age. You have to spec smoking pack.
You have to spec?
You have to spec the smoking pack.
Why is that?
Because then you get this little cover here, right? Because without the smoking pack, you just get a gaping hole in your centre console.
It just fills with fluff.
Which is
naval fluff.
And it's got like pennies in there and
that is true.
Parking tickets, sweet wrappers.
Let's fire up this mighty 4-cylinder turbocharged engine.
Is it going to be like a Subaru? Is it going to have that kind of level of...
Well, here we go.
No.
Now,
Oh.
that is possibly one of the most horrible noises in the automotive world. To me, that sounds like 100 sewing machines.
It's not nice, is it? It's not pleasant.
No, and in fact, I almost put diesel in this car the other day because I was convinced that I was driving a diesel Porsche Boxster.
Oh, that's really controversial.
It's that bad. And you get that thing where after you've been driving it for a while, when you stop and you get out, the fan stays on for like 20 minutes at full blast. Hate that. Hated it with the RS6, hate it with this too.
Right.
Stop start off, obviously.
Stop start off.
Always.
Loud exhaust on.
Well, now that's a very good point, Mr. Jason there. This engine is so bad, it sounds so horrible that I actually do not put on the loud exhaust button. It's that bad.
It's that bad.
It's the only car I've ever been in where I actively do not press the exhaust button because it makes a horrible sound even worse. It is horrible. It's horrible, this engine. It's horrible. Right, off we go then. This really bugs the hell out of me. For some reason, Porsche has decided that, you know how you code things to each key, so like the seat position and stuff.
Yeah. So when
makes
you get in,
makes it really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it very good.
However, for some reason, Porsche has decided to include climate controls with that functionality.
Hang on. So I don't understand.
Well, exactly, that's the point. There is no reason for this.
Why would you?
Why? Because you don't get in a car and go, oh, I always love to have the aircon on full blast right in my face, so I'll make that one of my settings. No, you adjust the climate depending on what's going on outside
the car.
which changes.
Yeah.
Before you write some comments about how stupid I am for not knowing how to do it, I know how to do it. This car refuses to accept it. Every time I start off in this car, I have to turn down the heating and change the mirror position. It drives me absolutely crazy.
Okay, let's talk about the stuff that we do like about this car, because that's what we told the viewers we were going to do.
That's true. I like the handling, I like the steering, and I like the chuckability of the car.
Right.
It does feel quite heavy, I think. It doesn't have those lithe, balletic responses that the other earlier Boxsters had, particularly the first one.
Yeah.
But anything up to the 981, they did feel quite alive and fizzy and light on their feet, whereas this, to me, feels a lot heavier.
Damping.
I've never felt jarred in this car, and over these bumps, it's coping with these bumps on what is quite a bumpy B road.
Yeah, bumpy B road.
It's doing pretty well, I think.
It's a bit firm for me.
But this is the S, isn't it? So it's a little bit more firmy.
A bit more sporty.
A bit more sporty.
Sporty.
See, you're running out of things you like already, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, things we like overall, the looks of the car, the exterior looks, it looks brilliant. It's a great looking car. It's got a good stance. It's I think, a pretty effective shape.
It's the nicest Boxster shape that they've made so far.
There you go, which is the highest compliment you're ever going to give a Boxster.
I'm ever giving it.
Exactly. Take it, folks. Take that one.
Take it.
You're not going to get any better than that from this gentleman. Interior is lovely.
Very nice.
General handling, chuckability is pretty good.
Yeah, so they're hitting their market in that, the 65-year-old retired BT engineer is now going to get a car that's very easy to drive.
You're going to get so many complaints. You're going to get so many complaints. Do not mention hairdressers, all right? If you do that, please stay watching. Do not turn off the channel. Don't worry, he's not going to mention people who cut other people's hair.
Tell me the Boxster hasn't got a reputation.
Well, it does. It does have an unfortunate reputation, which does unfortunately mean that people have missed out on some great cars over the years because of outright snobbery of the Boxster compared to the 911.
Yeah.
Why have you got a Boxster? Because you can't afford a 911, etc. How about a little beanage? Do you fancy some beanage?
I do fancy it. I'm slightly concerned the roads are a little damp.
Yes, but well, don't worry. This has got all the sophisticated traction control.
ESM.
It's got all that business. Second gear. Ready? Here's some beans.
Beanage. Let's go.
Wait for the turbo lag. It is a quick car. That is,
it's quick.
To be fair, it's a quick car.
What's going on back there?
I mean,
what was that noise?
A lot of people knitting. A furious knitting machine. It sounds like the Industrial Revolution.
It's bees. What they've got is a hive full of bees, and they've trapped them in a glass bottle, and they can't get out.
Let's talk about this engine for a minute.
Okay.
Right.
Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. This is where all the niceties are going to stop.
Stop.
Now we're into things that we don't like about this car.
This is the worst engine that has ever been put into a Porsche, possibly into a car.
Wow.
And I include steam-powered cars in that. When it's cold, you've got mammoth turbo lag.
Right.
Even when it's warmed up and you're pulling out of a junction, put your foot down,
Nothing.
you get nothing, okay? It's absolutely frightening. You get a noticeable delay in all responses. It quickens up a little bit when you start to ramp up those driving modes into Sport and Sport Plus, but from cold, doesn't matter what mode you're in, it's a slow, laggy engine.
Awkward. Low
down. It sounds like a diesel. At any part of the rev range, it's boomy, it's nasty, it's droney.
It's droney, that's the thing. It doesn't grow to a crescendo.
So it revs to 7, and every one of those revs is
painful.
Like fingers down a blackboard.
When you rev out the old flat 6, you would get it up to, it would start to sing, and it would get louder and more ferocious, and then you would change gear and you'd get back onto that power. This just goes
Yeah.
What's all that about?
The reason why this car is universally hated by fans.
Hated.
Is this engine. So here we go. Here, ready again? Listen to this.
Yep.
Honestly, it's got all of the oral sophistication and music of a dishwasher.
I think you're being quite nasty to dishwashers. How can they have made it sound so terrible?
I think these days, remember, we've got all sorts of EU regulations and restrictions and filters and stuff, which is contributing to the problem. The only thing I would have done is, if you had to make this horrendous box of an engine, if you had to make that...
He's being kind, ladies and gentlemen.
If I was Porsche, I would have actually reinvented the 914.
Yes.
I would have come up with a new, cool, modern 914, put this engine in it as a feature, i.e. it used to have that engine in the old days.
Yes.
We've put in a modern version of it. People wouldn't mind the drone and everything because it's in keeping with the character of that car, and then you leave the Boxster alone. But what they've done is they've literally just, what do they call it? They've hobbled the Boxster by taking one of the great strengths of it and putting in this.
You might as well drive around with a roof up. Probably with a mask on, maybe a brown paper bag.
It ruins the Boxster, and now I think Porsche is having to backpedal and furiously look at bringing back the flat six for this.
They've clearly done it with the Spider.
I mean, I would not have bought a 718 Spider if it had this engine in it. Handling wise, traction wise, it's good.
It's good.
Okay, it feels good.
It's just that drone in my ear hole.
Yeah, listen to it, you see? Gets worse. It's just bad. It's just a boomy, loud noise, but it is in no way pleasant. And I don't think the reviews and things that I've seen of this car over the years, I don't think they've been harsh enough.
Oh, really?
Because it is properly offensive to me.
Oh, look,
there you go.
Old Boxster, look.
Look at it, you see? Now that
Gen 1.
That's aging well, isn't it? It was almost embarrassing to go past him in it, wasn't it? We were almost like shining. Oh Christ! Don't recognise us. We're sorry. We've contributed to ruining the Boxster name. Don't even get me started about the fact that they called this 718, which, of course, again for a little bit of tail action. For Porsche purists, the 718 is those classic 50s RSK racing cars.
Well, you know, that's one of the reasons they brought out the 718 was because of the 4 cylinders.
Yeah, because historically they were four cylinders, weren't they? Yeah, and I get that. And
so the Boxster was there to the Boxster was an homage to the 550.
Yep.
Which everyone went, oh, awkward.
You might think, viewers, that we're overplaying this or that we've got some vendetta against Porsche. It could not be further from the truth. Now it's your turn.
Okay.
To drive this.
I'd like to say I'm looking forward to it, but we've both done quite a lot of seat time in this car, and weirdly we both had the same conclusions about its foibles and failings. The handling, although it does feel like a heavy car, it's still good, solid, predictable handling. Yeah, it's a... Why are you covering your ears as if I didn't know?
So horrible.
What are we running? 350 horsepower, something like that?
345.
345. I think that kind of level is a really good sports car level.
It's enough to have fun, not enough to totally get you in trouble.
Yeah.
4.2 seconds 0 to 60.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Which is okay. Top speed 177. It weighs 1,345 kilograms.
So actually,
isn't that heavy?
It's not that heavy.
No, but so
it does feel heavy.
Why does it feel so heavy?
I don't know. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is its initial purchase price and then subsequent depreciation.
Yes.
Kind of give the viewers an idea of, bearing in mind we know what the base price of this car is, £68,000,
well, this
and
is, like
4 months
like 58 plus options.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the dealer about this, and if you bought this car new at say 68 and then you decided to sell it or trade it in within the first year,
yeah,
you would lose £22,000.
£22,000.
Like that. And that's a lot on a car like this. To lose a third of its value within the first year,
that is just shocking, isn't it?
It highlights just how bad this is. Whereas 981 Boxsters, the previous gen, holding the money very well. Thank you very
nicely.
much. Let's stick the roof up whilst we're moving. Of course, don't need to stop.
No.
Here we go.
What
Ready?
speed would it go? Yeah.
So this is the beauty of the Boxster, is that you can do this. Obviously, you can do it in the 911 convertible as well. Nice, quick, simple roof on the move.
Now we're off again.
Now we're off.
That lag is awful.
It's bad, isn't it?
Oh my God, that was terrible.
Yeah, do it again. Once we get round here, show the ladies and gentlemen at home what turbo lag is like in a modern engine, because really there's no excuse for it now. The whole point of twin turboing an engine is to get rid of lag.
We are doing 15 miles an hour in second gear. My foot has just gone to the floor.
And
now it comes in.
Now do it again. Now stop. Do it again. Were you in sport?
I was in sport. That was sport.
Jesus, that was in sport. Try Sport Plus then.
This is Sport Plus.
Does it make a difference?
Doing the same thing.
Are you ready?
Down 15 miles an hour.
Second gear.
Second gear. Planted my foot.
Still
flat
nothing,
to the floor.
Nothing. Now there's power. That's what we're talking about.
Oh my God.
It's bad. That is real, and it's worse when it's cold.
And this is the problem with trying to get onto roundabouts.
Yeah.
Is you go, oh, there's a gap, and you put your foot down, nothing happens.
I mean, if that's what a 4-cylinder turbo engine gives you, I don't want one.
No, I don't want one either. So what I wanted to do was just to see whether or not it was all journalistic hype. Unfortunately, it's not, is it?
It is that bad.
It is that bad.
On the plus side,
Interior's nice.
interior is lovely, as you would expect.
We
All
like the quick
materials.
roof.
Yep. Nice quick roof on the move. The exterior looks pretty good. It's a nice sharp looking car, and the handling is pretty good. What's bad about this car?
It's just that engine.
If you cock up the engine, you sort of might as well go home, because it's the heart of the car.
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen,
Suffice to say that Porsche will never sell us another car again.
Ever.
However, what you like about the car, guys, is the truth, and it has to be said, you cannot hide from the truth with the 718 Boxster. But at least Porsche has listened with the new 718 Spider and brought back a lovely flat 6 engine.
and there you go. That's our opinion. It really is as bad as everyone says it is. It's awful.
Thanks for watching this episode on the 718 Porsche Boxster S.
And on that note, please subscribe, leave comments, ding the notification bell for when we have another video uploaded, and don't forget to find us on Instagram. And we'll see you on the next one.